You're mid-sprint. Your codebase has 1,000,000 lines, and Cursor AI just stopped understanding the context again. Windsurf's Riptide indexes it automatically, and that difference alone could cost you hours every single week. Windsurf is built for autonomous agentic flow. Cursor AI is built for deep editor integration, and you can only pick one as your primary tool. Test 1. Cost and pricing transparency. You're running a 10-person engineering team, and your AI coding tool bill just jumped because of usage-based overages you didn't see coming. And that's a real scenario with Cursor AI's billing model. The question is whether Windsurf's flat rate structure actually keeps that from happening, and by how much. I looked at both pricing pages side by side. Windsurf Pro is $15 a month. Cursor AI Pro is $20. That's 25% cheaper right there. And the team's gap is even wider at $30 versus $40 per user per month. Community reports consistently flag Cursor's usage-based model as unpredictable on heavy agentic workloads, while Windsurf's flat rate just sits there, predictable. Windsurf takes cost $5 less per month on Pro, $10 less per user on Teams, with no usage-based billing surprises reported. That puts Windsurf up 1-0, and the safer pick on price is pretty clear from the data. I live inside these tools every day, so billing surprises like that one hit me personally. Drop a comment below if a usage-based overage has ever wrecked your sprint budget. Test 2. Coding benchmark performance. Cursor AI published a claim that its Composer 2.5 improved SWE bench scores by 47% over the prior version, and Windsurf published nothing, 0. So the real question is whether a vendor-reported relative gain with no absolute score actually means anything when you're picking a daily driver. I ran this down twice to make sure. Cursor AI's SWE bench improvement claim is literally the only published benchmark number in this entire matchup, but it's a vendor blog post with no absolute score and no independent corroboration. Windsurf's coding quality case rests entirely on community reports. Cursor also supports Claude, GPT-4o, and Gemini, so you've got more model levers to pull on hard tasks. Cursor AI takes the benchmark round. It's the only side with any published performance claim, vendor only as it is, and the multi-model flexibility adds a real directional edge. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. That ties it up at 1-1, and I'll admit I didn't expect Windsurf to have 0 published numbers going into this. Test 3. Speed and in-editor completion. You're doing a multi-step refactor across 50 files, and your AI tool keeps stopping to ask you which files it should look at. Every single pause breaks your flow and doubles the time on the job. The question is whether Windsurf's Cascade or Cursor AI's Composer actually gets out of your way faster on big autonomous runs. I couldn't find a published latency or tokens per second figure for either tool, so this one is directional from community reports, and I want to be upfront about that. The community splits it by task type. Cursor AI feels snappier on quick inline completions, but Windsurf's Cascade wins on agentic multi-step throughput. It just runs, figures out what files it needs, and comes back with results. Windsurf takes speed. Cascade's lower intervention agentic flow wins the throughput call for large multi-step jobs, which is the audience this comparison targets most. That puts Windsurf up 2-1, and for anyone doing autonomous coding runs, the pick is pretty clear. So Windsurf's ahead on price and agentic speed, but the codebase indexing test and the deployment test are still coming. And one of those is the single most practically significant difference in this whole comparison. The one that could actually change your answer depending on how your team ships code. Test 4. Context and output limits. Your monorepo has 2 million lines of code, and every time you ask your AI tool to do something, you have to manually mention the right files, or it hallucinates the wrong context. That's the Cursor AI experience on large repos. and it's a documented pain point in the community. Windsurf's Riptide is supposed to fix that automatically. Watch what happens when you put a millions of lines codebase in front of each tool. Windsurf's Riptide indexes it automatically, no manual selection required, and community reports back that up consistently. Cursor AI's mention system puts that whole burden on the developer, and on a large monorepo, that friction compounds every single session. Neither tool publishes a context window token limit, but the indexing architecture difference is real and documented. Windsurf takes context. Riptide's automatic indexing removes the biggest practical friction point on large codebases, and that's not a close call. That puts Windsurf up 3-1, and this is the dimension I'd call the single most decisive edge in the whole comparison. Test 5, Deployment and Modality. You're trying to wire AI into your CI/CD pipeline, and you need a CLI tool that runs headless in a terminal. No desktop IDE, no browser, just a command you can call from a script. One of these tools has that, and one of them doesn't, and if that's your workflow, the answer is pretty much decided for you right here. So here's what I found when I dug into deployment options. Cursor AI has a dedicated CLI tool for terminal native and CI/CD pipeline workflows, vendor stated, and Windsurf has no published equivalent. Windsurf counters with JetBrains and browser-based support that Cursor doesn't publicly match, but for teams running headless automation, Cursor AI's CLI is the only option on the table. Cursor AI takes deployment. Its CLI tool is a decisive differentiator for terminal native workflows, and Windsurf simply doesn't have a published answer to it. That closes the final score at Windsurf 3, Cursor AI 2. Windsurf wins on price at every tier, $15 Pro versus $20, $30 Teams versus $40 per user. Riptide's automatic monorepo indexing handles millions of lines with zero manual file selection. Cascade runs multi-step agentic tasks with less hand-holding. And JetBrains plus browser-based support gives you a wider IDE footprint than Cursor AI publicly matches. Cursor AI wins on published benchmarks. Composer 2.5's SWE bench improvement claim is the only performance number either side put out. Multi-model support across Claude, GPT-4o, and Gemini gives you more levers on hard tasks. The CLI tool is the only option for CI/CD pipeline deployment, and community consensus consistently praises Cursor AI's deep editor integration as AI that feels baked in, not bolted on. If you need CLI deployment for CI/CD, or you want to swap frontier models on demand, pick Cursor AI. For everyone else, Windsurf is the default. It's 25% cheaper on Pro, and it indexes your codebase automatically so you never have to think about it. One thing the docs don't spell out: Cursor AI's usage-based billing can spike hard when you're running heavy agentic workloads, and I couldn't find a published cap or ceiling on that overage, community reports flag. This specifically on large projects where Composer is running autonomously for extended sessions. And if you're curious how the underlying models actually stack up on raw coding tasks, I did a full breakdown on Fable 5 versus GPT 5.5. The results there are going to reframe how you think about which engine you're actually running under the hood of whichever tool you just picked.